We're going to call the Star City Council meeting to order. It's August 18th, 2020 at 7 p.m. We have the pleasure of having representatives of the Daughters of the American Revolution, Christy Young, and some children of the American Revolution, Cole Young and Faith Young here.
Sorry to interrupt, but we cannot hear the meeting from the Zoom meeting. Just wanted to let you know. Please, if you can help us fixing the audio. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. If you can hear me, I cannot hear you. I can, Chris says you can
Hey,
hear me, but I can't hear you yet.
okay, hang on a second.
There you are. There you are, Mayor.
Can you hear me now?
I
Okay,
can hear
all
you
right,
now, Mayor.
very good. So is there some slides you want me to pull up off of the packet?
There's one that's a really high quality graphic with red lines and such. I'm being facetious. I
Okay,
don't take any pride in my own artwork.
all right. The floor is yours, sir. Give us your name and your address for the record, please.
You bet. Tucker Johnson. Address is 372 South Eagle Road, Suite 328 in Eagle. I'm before you tonight with a matter that I should have actually addressed about a year ago, but I missed it, including in the preliminary plat and the rezone application. Grantor Soap Springs is a redevelopment of an existing plat from some 20 years or so ago called Rusty Spur Ranchettes. So that plat created several utility easements by plat note. Also, it created a private street called Rusty Lane. My application and request before you tonight is to have the council's approval. It's required. Council approval is required. Yeah, that's the graphic, Mayor. If we could turn that sideways somehow, it might be helpful. It's required by state statute and city code for an easement, like a utility easement created by a plat or a private road easement or such, to be approved by the council prior to formal vacation. And that is what the application is before you tonight. So this graphic is actually the plat of Rusty Spurs Ranchette number 1. The next page is Rusty Spur Ranchettes number 2. And they fit together side by side, left and right, east, west and east. The red lines are the lot lines created by Rusty Spur Ranchettes. And therefore there's a plat note there on both plats that creates a 12-foot utility easement, as per my keynote there on the bottom right of the graphic. The green hatched area is the private road, which would also be vacated. And then the dotted blue line on that southeast and east boundary is where a current water line is from Star Sewer and Water District. We, as discussed, actually even a year ago during the preliminary plat, and in continued conversation with Hank and the board at Star Sewer and Water, we will relocate that at the appropriate time when we get to that phase, so that that water line does not remain in somebody's backyard or multiple people's backyards. It will be located in the street. On that point, there is an application coming to you in the future that is for a 4 or 5 acre parcel on my east boundary. It's a subdivision that's going to be called, I think the application is called Brandon subdivision or something to that effect. They currently have access to this water line in its current location. And we, per my conditions of approval, I can't remember what number it is, but corresponding with Sean on this already, we will ensure that there's access to that water line for that project, that property, when it develops, should they need that. They may get water from Brandon or they may get water from both. My engineers, their engineers are already in conversation on how to make that happen down the road. Also, there's in the southeast corner, there's a dwelling that also has potential access to this water line, but it too will have water stub to it, actually at a stub street that would stub right into their property if they ever wanted to extend the street and the water and the sewer and so on and so forth. So what before you, this is a quick overview, but I'm asking for an umbrella approval so that, and conditional approval from the council, so that as phase by phase, we just recorded phase 1 with a bunch of easements that were remnants of Rusty Spur Ranchettes shown on the easement, or on the plat, sorry, the plat that just recorded, because this hasn't been vacated yet. That plat that just recorded had to show existing easements from Rusty Spur Ranchettes, affecting many buildable lots that would be buildable once or will be buildable once these easements are officially vacated. Utility companies have already agreed. For example, CenturyLink doesn't have any services within the boundary of the project. Intermountain Gas neither, also doesn't have any facilities in any of Rusty Spur Ranchettes. Cable One, CenturyLink, so those three, Intermountain Gas, CenturyLink, and Cable One / Sparklight. Idaho Power is the only one that ever utilized any of those easements, and they've agreed to vacate easements as each, along basically with each phase, or in larger areas than just a single phase if applicable. There are only 2 existing houses on the property. One of them happens to fall on phase 1. And this letter you're on the screen right now speaks, I think, to that, these easements being vacated once they de-energize. So in summary, basically, and I'll stand for questions, we're asking for council approval, kind of an umbrella that would be conditioned upon each utility also agreeing to the vacation of a particular easement. For example, it might be 2 years before we get to that water line that Star Sewer and Water District and I will work together on and relocating it into a street so they can have long-term access to it. But we won't vacate that until the appropriate time. The new line is installed and up and running, and then we abandon the old one, and then they approve the vacation at their board level and marry that with city council's approval tonight for an umbrella of authorizing that to be vacated when the affected agency also concurs with that. Then an affidavit is recorded in the public record vacating that easement, so it's no longer affecting buildable lots or going through building pads or in locations that are not desirable moving forward. With that, I'd be glad to stand for questions. Hopefully I covered it well.
Any questions for the applicant?
None. No, sir.
Of course, I have a couple of questions.
Yay.
Okay.
So I did notice on the Idaho Power letter, it states that they will relinquish the easement area noted on the attached exhibit as long as a new public utility easement is provided. So is that included in there in that map somewhere, this new utility easement area?
Great question. I don't have that letter right in front of me right now. Sorry, I was hoping to see it on the screen. Maybe we could scroll back up to it. Let's see here. Is that the right? My screen's so small right now. Let me get it a little larger. The quick answer to your question is yes. All the new, as we develop, as is required by city code and our customers, of course, they need to have access to the services, sewer, water, power, gas, internet, and so on and so forth. And so all Idaho Power is saying in this instance, in a nutshell, is there's an existing house in phase 1, which is currently still using water or power from a line that was created with Rusty Spur. We have completely paid for, and they are finishing the installation of a new line that also will provide power to that house. Once they energize that, which is taking them too long to do, then they will de-energize and remove the cable and the devices of the old Rusty Spur line, and then effectually their condition here in their letter will be satisfied, and that easement would be null and void and vacated.
Okay, thank you. Is there another question I have? Is there any pedestrian pathways in these easements? I know it's utility things, but just want to make sure that there's no pathways.
Great question. There are none of these easements being vacated or pedestrian corridors or anything like that. They're all public utility type arrangements, and the private road. There's that Rusty Spur lane. The graphic you're looking at right now sideways is the dotted lines that are kind of a dark brown are Rusty Spur lot lines. And then you can see in black the Hope Springs preliminary plat lot lines. And you can see in colored lines my phases, which is contemplated to be 6 phases right now. That's what all the busyness on that map represents.
Okay,
So
No-
basically, there's no
pathways.
pathways in this.
There are
Just-
yeah, correct.
all right. And then my last question I have is, sorry for all my questions, but I noticed at the end of our packet here, it says from Keller Associate, Ryan sent an email regarding Star Sewer and Water. Was that letter, has that been submitted? So,
You're asking, there's no letter from the Star Sewer and Water District agreeing to or supporting the vacation of their easement as indicated on the exhibit located within the application.
There should, if I may interject in here, that there should be a correspondence from Hank or their board to the city referencing that we're in conversation to work towards this mutual end. They just won't make an official action as a board until, as I said earlier, the new water line plans are approved, it's constructed, it's energized, and then the old line is decommissioned, and then they would officially issue a letter saying we vacate this easement, our rights to this easement. We marry that with the city council's action tonight. It takes both of those for the affidavit to be recorded in the public record.
So you see right there, I think this resolves all concerns and we can move forward with Tucker's request.
Mr. Mayor and council members, we did not get a letter from Star Sewer and Water, which is not, it's not uncharacteristic. So we can make it a condition that approval be, that sign off from Star Sewer and Water is in there.
Okay.
But Keller is the representative for the Sewer and Water District. So I think that email is saying that he has no concerns about it.
that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions of the applicant? Any comments from staff?
So basically what this does is this blanket approval means we don't have to do this 6 more or 5 more times. And the developer doesn't have to go and do 5 more neighborhood meetings and public hearings and everything. We approve it all at one time and saves us all a headache, so.
Yeah, hang on, hang on, can I have the sheet? Yeah,
I'll take it, Chris.
is it just nobody?
It's just.
Okay.
it'll just be Chris.
Take your name and address, sir.
Chris Todd, 53 North Plummer Road, Star, Idaho. So Tucker, I just want to make sure that I'm clear. I'm helping out Landon Cooley with 2645 Brandon Road. He was under the assumption that he was going to tap into that water line that you're talking about on the east side of that property. So I just want to make sure that we're clear that there's still open communication and you're working with Brecken Land Design on what that connection would look like. Just don't want to assume something and not be right.
You talking this one right here?
Yes.
Did you hear that, Tucker?
I did. Wasn't sure if you wanted me to respond directly because that's usually not how you do this, but I'm
Sorry,
happy.
yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
All right,
That's my only- yeah,
that's your,
that's-
so hearing. Hearing having no further public comments here, you can rebut there, Mr. Tucker.
Sure. So if you look in the graphic, members of council and mayor, the word just below that blue dotted line, there's a word unplatted. And so now it's to the right of the blue line. It's the word unplatted. That's roughly the location of where this Brandon subdivision will be located. Actually, and so yes, we will continue to work, and it's even a condition of approval from my preliminary plat that we provide a stub should they need that at that time or in the future. There may be a possibility that they'll get water from Brandon Street or both Brandon Street and this line right now. So as I said earlier, we'll continue in conversation with their engineer. They may get to it before I do. So then before we get to our east boundary phases. And so we'll coordinate with them as to the best location for them and for us so we can master plan that location and work with Star Sewer and Water on making sure that that connection remains viable when we relocate the line. So we're on the same page. And again, there's a condition approval in my preliminary plat that already even says that very thing.
Okay. Any further comments from staff or questions to the applicant before I close the hearing?
Yes, I have one. So because it's in the other agreement that you have, we don't need to add it as another, just to make sure that that's in here in this condition. We don't need to add that condition
No,
here.
it'd be
Okay.
redundant. It's in that preliminary plat, so.
Okay. Hearing, any other questions or comments for staff? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and then we're going to go to deliberations.
Mayor Chadwick,
Councilman Nielsen,
I move that we approve the Grinders Hope Springs Utility Vacation VAC-20-01.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that, but I have a comment as well.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further comment?
Yes, I like the fact that Mr. Johnson said that if we approve this, he still has to gain the approval from each and every utility before it can actually happen. So I'm totally for vacating anything that's not needed, but also there's the reassurance that upon execution of each individual one, the affected parties will be in compliance or in agreement. So
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, hearing none opposed, that motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 6D, we need to table that indefinitely.
Mayor
How do we
Chadwick,
do that?
Okay, Councilman Nielsen.
so just a point of clarification, my experience, we have to table to a date certain. So how do we table something indefinitely?
You can, if you table it to a date certain, then you don't have to re-notice and republish, post on the site and all those things. If you just table it, so just a motion to table the hearing, period,
I got it.
then it'll be off the calendar. And then when they want to bring it back, they'll have to go through the formal publications of the paper, repost it on the site, do all those things. So it's, but
And this is a request of the applicant that we do this? Okay. Then I move that we table indefinitely Star River Holdings Development Agreement Modification for Crystal Springs Apartments, DA 2004 mod.
Mr. Mayor, before, you might want to add to your,
We need, I need, everybody needs to speak into their mics more because I know we're having challenges with sound.
add to your motion that the applicant would be responsible for all noticing, future noticing and
I will add to the motion that the applicant will be responsible for all financial impacts of renoticing and rescheduling a public hearing and direct staff to make note and ensure that that takes place.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we got a motion, and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And hearing none opposed, that motion carries. Item 6E, public hearing for the Notera subdivision. We're going to table this to September 1, 2020. I believe we're waiting still for some work out issues with ITD and ACHD on this.
Mr. Mayor, would September 1st be realistic since it's only 2 weeks away?
That is our understanding from ITD and ACHD, correct?
Okay, then, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we table the public hearing for Notera subdivision sample property annexation and zoning, development agreement, preliminary plat and private street, Alpha Zulu 20, DAC 05, Delta Alpha 20, DAC 05, and Papa 20, TAC 07, and Papa Romeo 2003 till September 1st.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We got a motion, second. Any further discussion?
Yes, that was the proper phonetic military alphabet thing.
Thank you. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Alpha Yi.
Alpha Yankee India.
Okay. Hearing none opposed, that motion carries. We're going to run on to item 6F, adopt a response to the ACHD 5-year integrated work plan. Let me pull this up here real quick here. Yeah, let's see here. Where's that at? So the, our Do we want them to talk about it, Sean? The Transportation Committee? We don't,
Just acknowledge that they helped get this.
yeah. So our
going.
Transportation Committee looked at the integrated 5-year work plan for 2021 to 2025 with ACHD and helped develop this letter. And they've asked, and I'm just going to point out a few things here that they asked. They sincerely request that ACHD consider the following be included in the 2021 to 2025 integrated 5-year work plan. Number one, expand the scope of Floating Feather Road Pollard Lane improvements projects to provide a continuous safe biking route on the north side of Floating Feather Road from Munger Road to Pollard Lane. 2, expand the scope of the Munger Road Bridge projects to provide a continuous safe biking route on either the east or west side of Munger Road from Floating Feather Road to Pollard Lane. And 3, include a project to provide for continuous safe biking route on the west side of Plummer Road from State Highway 44 to Floating Feather Road. Those are some of the comments that they brought up with our integrated 5-year work plan. Anybody have any questions? What you're going to do is you're going to approve us sending this letter to ACHD. And I believe we have ACHD on the line. Is Christie or Edmondson? Edmondson, can you hear us?
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor Chadwick, council members. Yes, so, and I believe Christy is also in the line. She has an attendee. So if there's any questions, she will be able to answer specifically related to the integrated 5-year work plan.
Okay. Okay, we're getting Christy online, so if you guys have any questions to ask of her, you can do so. It what? Oh, it's Justin, I'm sorry.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, council members, this is Christy Inselman. When you rebooted me, it brings me in under Justin's Zoom info, but it is Christy Inselman on the line.
Gotcha. Does the council or staff have any questions to ask of ACHD? Does ACHD have any comments that they would like to make?
Yeah, I guess I'd like to hear any comments that, I mean,
They haven't seen the letter yet, I don't think. Oh, you did send it to, okay, sorry. They
so
do
we're
have
not
a letter.
approving to send it to them. It's already been sent.
Yeah. It's for discussion.
Okay, all right. So, yeah, Christy, please, I'd love to hear your comments.
Mr. Mayor, council member, my screen is really small on the member, so I'm not sure who that was, but I appreciate the opportunity to talk. I received the draft letter from Sean a couple hours ago to review. And I took a look at the requests that you've made, and I think that it's a great letter to send to our commission. The public comment closes this Friday, so your comment and your request will go to the commission. There will be a public hearing on September 2nd to review all of the requests, including yours. I can tell you that a few of these have not been scoped, so we don't know the extent of what it would cost to do some of these. So certainly we would love to hear your requests, but it would be difficult to add this year, seeing as how we wouldn't know how much it would cost to do any of these projects.
Okay,
Well, would that be just a delay of a year then? That, I mean, since this is a 5-year plan, I presume that it's a rolling 5-year plan, right?
Mr. Mayor, council members, yes, we update this 5-year work plan every single year. And in the first 2 years of the plan are tied directly to our budget, which is going up for adoption in August 26th, I believe, if I have my dates correct. And then scoping we do pretty much every year. We average between 50 and 60 projects that we attempt to scope each year to add projects. You can certainly make that as part of your request to have these projects scoped for future inclusion in the 5-year work plan, or request to add them this year. That's certainly under the purview of this council.
So is that part of our, help me understand this request, because I don't see it in the text. Are we asking them to add it this year? Or is this, because it looks like it's just
Well,
added to the
think-
5-year plan, which,
Right, we're asking them to include it in the 5-year plan, whether it's this year or next is not, we didn't clarify any of that.
okay. So the fact that it's not scoped and it wouldn't be eligible to be added to the plan for this year is not necessarily a concern. We're just hoping overall.
Right, we're advising them of what we want to see done so we can get it on record.
I think,
And
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor, council members, I did want to say that on the Munger Road Bridge projects, I did see that request to add some sidewalk, and I don't believe that they were scoped to add sidewalks as part of that bridge project, but I will add that in comments to the project managers to see if they did look at that. That one I am uncertain of. I would have to check with them.
So Christie, on that one there, can you check to see if there was funds provided by the development there on the corner? My understanding, there was funds provided by the development on the northeast corner of Munger and Floating Feather for future sidewalks on that. So there should be funds available there to do some of that.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I will certainly look into that, and I'd be happy to provide a response to that for you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
so Mayor Chadwick, it appears that perhaps we should add into this letter that request that the scoping is done
Okay.
this year if possible, so that we can get it added into the plan, on an ASAP basis.
Okay. Yep. Question there?
Yes, did the Transportation Committee, did they talk about from State Street going south on Star Road to the river?
We could bring up Mr. John. It's in the
Mr. Mayor,
list
members,
of projects, I think. right?
Councilman, that's in the 5-year request already. But they didn't approve it, but it is in the request.
So the 18 projects we have listed here
It
is
was in our original
Right.
request. They didn't approve it. So I guess we could add that as another project that we request to be included.
Right, okay, so I guess, yes, I think that we should consider adding that, that section. It is in the Ada County pedestrian bicycle plan that was adopted a couple of years ago. They did note in that plan that a sidewalk there was a high priority. So, I think it should be on the list to be scoped out and of hopefully, a project that will be coming down the road in a couple of years.
Why don't we also make our original submission an attachment?
Say that again?
Make our original 18 plan submission an attachment to this letter.
Well, this is, yes, we can, but this is what they've looked at all of our stuff this
Right.
year. And this are comments based off of this plan.
All right, then
on there.
they already
Right.
have that. Then add that other thing and,
I mean, in reality, we want all 18 done,
I know, but you asked for the moon.
but we have to prioritize what we want to see done and add it to it if we can.
And Mr. Mayor, council members, I do want to let you know that the Star Road project, I think we call it Main to State Highway 44, that was included in our scoping plan this year, and it was scoped. So if that helps in your,
That's for the sidewalk?
correct.
Okay.
I did not see it anywhere, but maybe I missed it.
Okay.
Did you see it, Sean? Or?
Madam, or Mr. Mayor, Chairman, council members, it was scoped. It has not been added to the 5-year work plan, but it was part of the projects that were scoped. We have, every single year, we scope 50 to 60 projects, and that ranges from our capital investment or capital improvement projects to our community programs. Not all of them make it into the 5-year work plan, but we do go out and scope a wide variety of projects every single year. And it's, again, always dependent on how each of those projects prioritize and funding availability.
So we're asking them to add it to the plan since they've already scoped it. That's what,
Correct.
instead of scoping it again.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now in the plan is there, I think there's 11 projects in the current 2021 to 25, 2020 to 2025. Is that correct? That they're like, I went to your website today. I saw it, looked at the, they got the little dots and the lines and, with a summary of each project that's included in this plan. I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So this letter includes all the things that is in that work plan, and then
We're
we
asking for
are
additional,
asking
yeah.
for a few extra.
Right.
Okay. And I think that it's very reasonable what we've asked for, along with these couple others. So
Okay.
I appreciate you. I appreciate the transportation committee and you guys putting this letter together, because when I first saw it, I wasn't sure what it's coming into.
Okay, any further discussion? No, so we're looking for you guys to approve the adoption of this with the additions that Councilwoman Jennifer and
With the additions of what the
Councilman
council
Nielsen.
has, I have no objections. You actually had me at explosive and exasperate. So really, I mean, that's in the letter, both words.
So do we need to have a motion on this then, Chris? Yeah, so we need a motion.
Mayor Chadwick, I move that we make the recommended changes to the letter and send it.
I second that
Okay,
with
we
the
got
with the recommendations, yes.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'll just say that I really also appreciate the Transportation Committee and the cooperation with ACHD. Thank you for your work on this.
It's actually a
Yeah,
very,
thank
very
you.
nice letter.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, hearing no nays, that motion passes. Thank you there, ACHD representatives, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
At a late hour.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to reports. Chief, do you have any reports? Okay, I guess you could sit. All right, Sean?
I've got a couple calendars. I wanted to go over some dates for the workshops for the comp plan. You can do it now or.
Do you guys want to talk about dates now, or do you want them to shoot some dates to you to check your calendars and schedules?
I'd
Well,
like
what-
it shot to me, but
Yeah, what's our frequency that you're targeting?
So our plan is to have 2 workshops and an open house in the month of September
okay.
and get back before you, the second meeting in October for hopefully adoption of the new comp plan map, the changes that I discussed at the last meeting.
Okay. You want to, we could have Sean just send out some dates
Want me to do
on
that?
there. Yeah, let's do that so everybody can look at their schedules and their travel plan.
Tuesdays. I know we have some council meetings, but we got some
Off
off days.
okay.
And I just had to check my wife's birthday, but Thursdays seem good for me too, so.
You
All
and your
right.
birthday.
Probably the same day as last year, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Anything
But what
else?
date does it fall on?
Do you want to announce our new, or do you want to wait?
Wait, Okay.
Nope, nothing else. We have new chairs. Did you guys enjoying your
Ah,
chairs?
he took my-
yes.
Very nice.
Chris? Nothing? Councilman Hershey?
My committees are still kind of just not meeting. However, I wanted to report that the Star Outreach has served 1,100 people during their summer lunch program. So that's a tremendous success.
Okay. Thank you. Councilwoman?
Yes, I had a monthly air quality board meeting yesterday, and we adopted fun stuff on that board. We adopted the next year's budget, and also just as general information, I want to remind everyone that if you're a vehicle owner and you need to take your vehicle in, but you're concerned to take it due to safety precautions, you can file for an extension. You go to their website and you can ask for extension. Pathway and Beautification Committee, they met, I believe it was last week. I was unable to attend, but I heard it was very productive. They do have an Eagle Scout that is working on a project down by the river, and I think Mayor, you received all the information regarding that project. He's taking out some barbed wire and gonna create some benches down there. So really excited about that project. And then they're also working on the 3rd annual Make Star Shine Day. So that's where we rake up everything. So stay tuned for that. And of course, dog park, always, we're waiting for that.
You're waiting for that one. Yep.
That's all I have to report. Thank
Okay.
you.
Councilman Nielsen?
Mayor Chadwick, thank you. Really appreciate the improved chairs up here. Not only is my back not hurting after this long meeting, but we also actually sit at desk height now. So
I can see people.
yeah, very, very much an improvement. My comfort's not as important as a lot of other people's, but certainly appreciate that. I don't have any committee reports to
Sure.
report on this time, but I'd also like to just express appreciation for our city staff and in particular our maintenance department. I think our parks have never looked better, even through the high heat that we've had here these last few weeks. I think our attention to those details is showing. So
Cool, thank you. We'll pass that on. Okay, couple things. You guys saw some messages and notes, but I was able to meet with Don Hubble at one of their Hubble Heroes houses. I was the only elected official that attended, and I spoke at that meeting where they build a Heroes house and they make donations to several organizations. Star Outreach was not on that, so I requested of him to make a donation to the Star Outreach, and he did make a $10,000 donation to them last week, which is fantastic. All it takes is asking, right? $10,000 goes a long ways to helping those guys out there. So additionally, we did put in for a grant to run fiber from the city to Hunters Creek Park to 960 Main. Is Tina still here? There she is, way back there in the corner. She wrote the grant for us on that, and we actually were awarded the grant through the state for $380,000 to do this, about 380, right? 370 something-ish. Oh, 395, excuse me. Let's go 395 to get that fiber, which is a great deal for us, especially in this unknown world of COVID and school issues, because we have so many families and kids right now that are struggling at their residences trying to get online. And so we're going to create some of these hot spots at these parks so these kids can go there and actually do schoolwork if they need to. This grant, you guys are going to get, I don't know, we still have to work out some of the details for you guys to approve it. I think on September 1 is our target, right? Will you go speak in that so people online can hear?
So the grant agreement with Department of Commerce should be out either at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. And I'm assuming with the grant agreement that you want your city attorney to take a look at it. And Mayor and I will be meeting with Graham Taylor teleconferencing on Monday and start looking at the timeline and scope of work, doing a little more detail on that. So yeah, the completion date by terms of the grant is installed and working by December 15th of this year.
So that's an awesome deal right there to be able to move that forward. So
fantastic. Thank you. Good job.
yeah, and then the 960 Main, the Star Community Center down there is underway. We have selected, last meeting we approved the contract. They have started demolition out there. So, and I'd just like to thank Republic Services. They donated 4 roll-offs and the dump fees for all of our demo work out there as well. So it's just about asking, right? Asking people to try to help out on there. So I appreciate everybody coming. I want to thank Ms. Dana again, Meredith and Barbara for all their work on our online stuff. Even though we had challenges today, believe it or not, we had a challenge we figured out at 4 o'clock that we had to get Neuralink in here to fix that showed up. And apparently we have a little bit of challenge still. We'll figure that out. But they put a lot of hours and work into making sure that we can get this stuff done in this COVID world. So I appreciate all that work. So thank you guys, and we will adjourn.